And Pickle, let's go to the hotline and let's bring in our
Hang on, I do have a lower third that works, though.
Our very favorite.
Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite member
God.
of Texas football today, who's barely been on the show the last 6 months. We're joined by Ishmael Johnson. Ish, the people demand you.
Yeah, I bet they do.
I read the comments, man. They absolutely demand you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, by the way? Did you recover from
Man,
from the interview that I certainly
This is
hope
why
you enjoyed?
I wanted Ish on at the very end so you could have time to calm down a little bit.
So you're a scoundrel. So obviously you were responsible for Bill Oakley. And Bill Oakley, if you missed it earlier, Bill Oakley, showrunner and writer for The Simpsons and Mission Hill and a lot of other unbelievable, outstanding television. So take me through how you booked him.
So, yeah, Pickle had the original idea of getting someone like non-football as kind of a surprise, and she was like, "Yeah, what if you get the voice of Homer or something?" And then immediately, I was like, "Oh, that's easy. Look, I'm gonna try to get Bill Oakley." That was because you can get voice actors, you can get things like that, but I felt like why not just go to the heart of where your love of the show comes from, which is the writer's room. And I was like, that's a guy you could probably converse with for 3 hours off the cuff. And so I heard him on one of my favorite podcasts, and I was like, okay, he's a good interview, so I know that. And so I just reached out to him on Instagram. I was like, let me just see what we got. And an hour later, he shot back. He's like, yeah, sure. Here's my email. Let me know the rest of the info. And I was like, okay, cool. That's it.
Well, it was honestly one of the most flabbergasting moments of my life.
It's just
when I got to speak with a guy who was deeply involved with some of my favorite art ever created. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like there are some people who if they got to talk to their very favorite musical artist, they would faint.
Cool.
Right.
That was about where I was with it. So it was an outstanding move by you. I commend. Now, who else were you responsible for booking?
Ted. Ted was the other.
The great Ted Emmerich. Okay. Boy, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to judge.
He crushed it.
Who did the best job? Because everyone, nobody's had any bad guests. This has all been very, very good. Okay. So
I had one thing I wanted to say about Oakley, and I know it was kind of hard because it's off the cuff, and you couldn't get everything you possibly wanted to ask out. But I was curious.
And we only have 7 hours.
Right, exactly. And so, the other one, the thing I was actually kind of surprised was you didn't have any Simpsons canon questions, or it was about things that you maybe were unsure of about the universe. When he was writing the show, and what did he mean for certain things to mean, or how was a joke supposed to be interpreted? I don't know if you ever had any of those.
So I have some, and I'll be honest, there were a couple that I definitely thought about asking. But then all I did was think about the nerds who were talking about the problem in the Itchy and Scratchy game or whatever. Which by the way, he wrote Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. That all it was gonna be was oh, you're one of those. And it's I couldn't.
Fair enough.
All I wanted to do was not embarrass myself in front of Bill Oakley. So there were definitely some. I was like, what do you mean by this joke? Were you trying to? But I tried to get a little bit meta. There were a couple of questions that I.
I think it came across that you were a huge fan, clearly.
Good, because I don't want it to come across otherwise. Okay, it's Ishmael Johnson, our buddy and editor here at TexasFootball.com. So what have you been doing?
Oh God! Well,
now
recently I've been getting ready for basketball, or the basketball magazine. Laying out the groundwork for that. So, that's been kind of the recent week or so. But as far as all the time before that, a lot of Netflix, a lot of video games. Recently Peloton. I got a Peloton. That was something. That's
cool.
basically been it because I'm not stepping inside of a gym anytime soon.
Oh, wait, you have a Peloton now?
Yeah.
How is it?
Are we paying you that much?
First of all, calm down. Max Thompson had one of these 3 years ago. He was way ahead of
Well, yeah, but that's also not surprising.
That's normal.
Yeah,
fair enough. So yeah, no, it's working really well. I mean, I've had it for about 2 weeks now, and it's really tiring. Max was like more excited than me when I told him that I had it, because he's really competitive and wants to see how he compares to me. Which definitely after like 5 months of sedentary activity from me, like he's like miles ahead of me. But it's something. It gets me going because it's definitely something I've needed because I have not been doing much since basically mid-March.
All right. So I want to ask you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a difficult question that might get people yelling at you on the internet, which you're used to.
Yes, fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So football season's coming up. Okay.
Yes.
Football season. We're having some changes here and there, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to lay a percentage. What percentage chance do you think? Let's just focus on college football for a moment. What percentage chance do you see that we average 8 games per Power 5 team played in the fall of 2020? What percentage do you think that we average 8 games per team?
You want me to get in trouble?
Well, the thing is, like we have.
Yes,
you and I,
people yelling at me. No,
you and I have not talked. But you and I, this is genuine. You and I have not talked about like this. I get the feeling that you are pretty skeptical about football in the fall. Am I wrong?
No, you're completely right.
That you're pretty skeptical about it. I share some of your skepticism. I'll believe it when I see it. Kind of is where I'm at right now. To me, it seems like there are just a lot of hurdles for college football in the fall, and furthermore, there are fewer hurdles to moving it to the spring than there would be in high school.
Right. And so I'd say it's as far as a percentage of averaging eight games played, right?
Yeah.
In the fall.
Yeah.
10%.
10%.
I just do not see it happening. 8 games is still a lot. Even cutting down to just the conference, I just think that it's a big ask because we're looking at it right now, and it's no coincidence that the leagues that are the most successful are the ones that can effectively quarantine players to where they literally do nothing but eat and breathe the sport for 24/7, which is what we're seeing in the NBA and the MLS and in WSL and the WNBA. And we're seeing what like a half plan looks like, which is what the MLB is, which is like, yeah, when you're here, kind of watch yourself, but we can't do anything about you when you're not here. And that's kind of resulted in almost disaster, like not quite disaster, but definitely to the point where people are canceling games. So.
All right. Now we got the football out of the way because we wanted people to remind people we're a football show. Let's get to the most important thing, which is football. Tomorrow, big match for your Gunners. Big match for Arsenal tomorrow. How are we feeling about the FA Cup against the team that everybody hates, which is Chelsea?
So
because I don't know if you heard free money. I took the Gunners.
I'm sorry you had to hear that, Ish.
I gave up when we got to around like I don't know what you like Finnish water polo, whatever you guys are talking about. I gave up around there. But I'm feeling okay. I always thought this season was a wash in terms of, I guess around like September, I was like, all right, I'm done with the season as far as like meaning anything truly special. So playing in an FA Cup final is a added bonus. And if they win, I'm very happy. If they don't, I'm disappointed because it's the second year in a row they lost a final to Chelsea, but I didn't really expect to come away with much from the season anyway. So cautiously optimistic. I'm going to be pumped. And the worst moment is when they probably go up 1-0 because then it's going to be like absolute horror and dread while I expect Chelsea to equalize.
Yeah, it's going to be that's if I could here's the script that I see.
Yeah.
Arsenal score in like the 20th minute. Chelsea score in like the 24th minute.
Right.
but then because I have faith in the Gunners, they win 3-1.
Yeah. I mean,
they score in like the 55th minute, and then they put it. And
they've been weird like that. Yeah, they beat Liverpool and City, and then they lose to Aston Villa, and so it's like, okay, I don't know what this team is right now. So,
all right. Final question for Ish.
Yes.
You said you've been watching a lot of Netflix. A lot of the people in our comments take their social and cultural cues from you.
Oh God.
I need you to recommend a show on Netflix, and don't say like you should watch Ozark. Like we all know that, okay? We all know that Ozark's pretty good. It's nominated for an Emmy.
Ish would never.
Give people a Netflix deep cut.
A Netflix deep cut. Ooh. Okay.
It can also be Hulu.
I
or
was going to
something
say,
else.
dive into Hulu if you need to.
Yeah. I'll look into Hulu as well.
That's more deep cut.
Yeah, that is true. That's some more deep cuts. Ooh. Okay, I got one. If you're a fan, even if you're not a fan of anime, I'll say that. I think it's just a really cool little movie and kind of a technical achievement. It's called Gantz Zero, GANTZ. What's the word? :0.
Okay.
GANTZ:0, and it is a completely CG anime adaptation of an anime that I'm not actually familiar with, but I've just heard of the movie. And it is about 90 minutes of just pure CGI spectacle. And like the story is basically like you die or this character dies and he's taken to this secret society that's basically meant to combat interdimensional demons at night only. And that's how he basically stays alive. He has a second lease on life, and that's the way he stays alive, is like, but you can also die from the demons, and that then you're permanently dead. But the element comes in because it's a point system on like how you kill the demons, what type of demon you kill, and blah blah blah, and you get more points, and eventually you could potentially get your life back and come back to Earth. So it's kind of a video game storyline. And I really wouldn't pay that much attention to the story because it is mostly a technical achievement of just like 90 minutes of pure CGI action and awesomeness. So Gantz Zero, very entertaining, very violent too, I should also say, but very entertaining and a really good watch.
He's Ishmael Johnson. He's everybody's favorite member of Texas Football Today.
Absolutely.
One day he'll be back on the show. Like, I'm confident one day.
You what?
I'm confident that one day you'll be back on the show.
Oh yeah.
Boy, I was gonna say there's
He's
a
like,
pregnant pause there.
maybe if I pretend not to hear this, I don't have to answer this terrible question.
Right. Ish, good to talk to you, buddy. Good job on booking your guests. You
crushed it.
You got
Ish.
me.
You crushed it.
And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Appreciate you guys.
Bye, bud.
Go Gunners. There he is, Ishmael Johnson.